On a cold February morning in 2002, the world came terrifyingly close to losing the thing we depend on most: the internet. Not a website, not a single app, the entire network. And yet, almost no one remembers it. Because while most of us were checking emails or browsing the early days of Google, a silent war was unfolding. A war that could have switched the lights off on modern life. This is the story of the day the internet almost died. The internet, at its core, runs on a fragile skeleton. Beneath the memes, the shopping carts, the late-night searches, there are only a handful of root servers, the master address books of the online world. If you want to find a website, your computer asks these servers for directions. They are like the beating heart of the internet. And in February 2002, someone, or something, tried to stop that heart. It began as a whisper in server rooms. Engineers noticed strange surges in traffic, requests pouring in, millions at a time, not from users, but from machines designed to overwhelm. It was the largest coordinated cyber attack in history. A distributed denial of service, or DDoS. Simple in concept. Drown the system with so much noise it can't function. But this wasn't just any system. These were the 13 root servers that tell every computer in the world where to go. Shut them down, and the internet doesn't just slow, it collapses. For nearly an hour, chaos rippled through the veins of the digital world. Emails failed, websites hung in limbo, but most of us never noticed. The attack was almost invisible, and that's what makes it so chilling. Imagine if the power grid flickered off, not in one city, but in every city, all at once. Banks, airports, hospitals, governments, the entire nervous system of civilization. Cut. That was the risk on the table. And yet, the story of what happened that day feels less like a thriller and more like a miracle. Inside dimly lit rooms, system administrators fought like firefighters. They rerouted traffic, deflected floods of malicious data, and built barriers on the fly. These weren't soldiers or politicians. They were quiet engineers, often overlooked, battling in real time to keep society running. And somehow it worked. Despite the scale of the attack, not a single root server went permanently offline. The internet staggered, but it did not fall. Later, investigations traced the attack to compromised machines spread across the globe. An early glimpse of what we now call botnets. Millions of infected computers, ordinary home PCs, unknowingly recruited into an army. A faceless swarm controlled by someone whose name we still don't know. To this day, no one has ever been caught. What makes the story even stranger is how little it was reported. The biggest threat to the internet in history passed with barely a headline. Maybe because no one wanted to admit just how vulnerable we were. Or maybe because the attack, like the internet itself, was too abstract to understand. But think about it. 20 years ago, the web was fragile enough that a single storm of data nearly brought it down. Today, our lives are infinitely more dependent. Banking, medicine, communication, even the water that flows from our taps. If the root servers failed now, it wouldn't just be an inconvenience, it would be catastrophe. The day the internet almost died is not just a story about technology. It's a reminder that the systems we take for granted are held together by human hands, unseen, unthanked, but essential. It's about fragility, about how progress always walks hand in hand with risk. And it leaves us with the haunting question: if an anonymous attacker could almost break the internet in 2002, what would happen if they tried today? Maybe the miracle won't repeat itself. Maybe the day the internet dies is still ahead of us. Until then, we live on borrowed time, connected, dependent, and fragile, on a network that feels eternal, but isn't.